From the National Weather Service in Raleigh, it's Nick Petro with your routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. Today's a Tuesday edition, September 8th, 2020. Since yesterday was a holiday, we're doing our routine early week weekly briefing on Tuesday instead of Monday. Of course, we do two of these routine briefings every week. We do one on early in the week and late in the week, and of course, we've got today's, and we'll do another one on Thursday as usual. Same time, same place, 11:30 in the morning. So this briefing covers the period basically through the rest of this week and into the weekend. So let's go ahead and jump right into probably our top weather story of the day. And bear with me here while I set my screen up properly. Okay, there we go. So everybody, of course, has probably seen this either news or if you visited the National Weather Service or National Hurricane Center's webpage, you probably saw this area of disturbed weather, area of low pressure, quite frankly, about 300 miles west-southwest of the Bermuda that the Hurricane Center is keeping an eye on. And, the general movement, the general pattern would have this area of low pressure drifting basically towards the Carolina coast. And meanwhile, there's a sort of an inverted trough, a stationary boundary, if you will. So this will probably get merged with that. And then, but regardless of development of that system, we're going to see some increased rain chances this week because of moisture coming off the Atlantic. And the general flow is turned to more of an easterly and onshore flow, which always means increasing humidity and rain chances. So either way you slice it, whether this actually turns into a closed low with some sort of tropical, nature, either way, we're going to see increased rain chances this week. Now, of course, if this were to develop, then maybe those rain amounts might be a little bit more than they otherwise would. But either way, we're going to see some rain this week. All right. So moving on to the next slide. What else is out in the tropics? Of course, we've got two systems out in the central and eastern Atlantic. And basically, we're just going to keep our eyes on those. Of course, the one further east is probably going to recurve well out offshore. But, we're certainly going to just, we're in the peak of the season. And that's the main thing I want folks to be aware of. We are in the peak of the season, which will run through basically mid-October. So, we got to keep our eyes on everything out in the Atlantic. So that's the key point there. But in terms of the pattern, deep easterly flow off the Atlantic, as I mentioned a couple slides ago, will result in return of humidity, warmer than it has been the last couple of days as well, and increased rain chances mainly during the afternoon and evening through the rest of this week, each day. Now, we are going to have a couple cold fronts that are going to try to move into the mid-Atlantic, and they're going to try to push into the Carolinas this weekend and early next week. Now, yesterday, the models had those fronts pushing south and across and through our area with a drying out behind it. But today, the models have shifted back to a solution that basically stalls them across the mid-Atlantic or maybe even over our area. So basically, the less likely solution is that they're able to push completely through our area. And if that happens, it'll dry out again behind them early next week. But the more likely scenario is that they won't push through. They'll stall either over us or to our north. And then we're going to see daily afternoon and evening shower and thunderstorm chances to continue each day with warm and humid conditions, basically this weekend and early next week. So I think we're kind of sort of going with the latter of those two solutions, and we've got pretty much rain in the forecast every day from today on. So, and then finally, just again, another reminder, we're in the peak of the hurricane season, so keeping a close eye on the Atlantic. What about rainfall? So this next slide shows how much rain we're expecting. And as you can see, there's green and even some blue painted across the Carolinas basically every day through the next 7 days. So on average, rainfall totals will be about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch just about every day. Some spots will see a less, and there could be a few spots that see a bit more. Just depends on where those heavier showers and thunderstorms set up and train over. Those spots could see more. But on average, most places will see about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain. So when you add up the next 7 days, we're looking at about, 1.5 inches to maybe up to 3 inches. Again, depending on, who sees more, who sees less, but in general, 1.5 to 3 inches. Now, again, the caveat to that is if there is any sort of, development off the system southwest of Bermuda, then those rain amounts obviously may be a little bit higher. But right now we're thinking about 1.5 inches to 3 inches for most of central North Carolina over the next 7 days. All right. In terms of flash flood potential right now, we're not really seeing any significant flash flood threat based on what I just outlined. But of course, that could always change if amounts turn out to be more or if the system develops or something of that nature. But right now, we're not highlighting any flash flood excessive rain outlook right now. In terms of severe thunderstorm potential for the next 3 days, while there can be some thunderstorms across the area, and lightning is always a threat along with heavy downpours with thunderstorms, we're not expecting any severe storms that would produce widespread wind damage or large hail. Not expecting that. All right. So that pretty much wraps up our briefing, because the main point, again, is we're keeping an eye on the area of low pressure, 300 miles west-southwest of Bermuda. But regardless of that system and if it develops or not, we're going to see increased rain chances basically the rest of this week and even into the weekend due to that deep easterly moist flow coming off the Atlantic. So a lot of humidity returning, turning warmer again than we've had this, past couple days. I know it was a beautiful weekend and everybody enjoyed it. It was comfortable, low humidity, pleasant temperatures. But we're going to be right back into the heat, to the heat and humidity, particularly the humidity as we head through the week. All right. And then, it looks like a front's going to try to make a run at us this weekend and early next week. But right now, indications are it's probably going to stall out. So that'll keep the rain chances in the forecast over the weekend. Okay, so be mindful that heavy downpours are always possible with any thunderstorm, any repetitive cells pretty much any day this week. So you always want to slow down when driving in rain, never drive through areas where water covers the roadway. And while nothing is imminent in the forecast for central North Carolina, we're always keeping a watchful eye on the tropics, especially now that we're in the peak of the hurricane season. So that wraps it up. We got some stuff we're keeping an eye on, and some wet weather in the forecast the next couple days through the rest of this week. And obviously, if anything changes with that system off the southeast coast, we will let you know, and we'll be sending out email updates and posting them to our webpage at weather.gov/Raleigh. So be sure to visit that several times throughout the day for any changes and updates as well. And with that, I'll say thanks so much for watching, and have a great rest of your Tuesday.